Welcome back. Don't quit your job just yet, but then wait for the final round of this interesting discussion on mid-career shift. Is it a bounty or a gamble? Surya Prasad, former IPS officer and now CEO of Nelcast. Mr. Vaidyanathan, former Vice President of Cognizant and now CEO and founder of Classel. And A. Subramani, former legal correspondent and now an advocate. Subramani, back to you first again now. When it comes to, in terms of skills, yes, covering the legal beat is one thing, and being a lawyer and poring over case files and case laws is quite something else. Did you actually do any sort of preparation, apart from merely covering stories? Did you do any preparation in advance? Is that really required in your profession, at least now?
No, as a journalist, legal correspondent for 11 years, it became a habit, reading judgments, following legal trends, and discussing legal issues with senior advocates, and suggesting solutions. So for the 11 years, as part of my routine, journalistic routine.
Of these 11 years, when exactly did you take the decision that you will? When did you actually think that you would actually change your profession?
Around 2 years ago.
2 years ago. I want to ask you another question. I want to bring you back to a conversation we had about 3 years ago or 2 years ago, Subramani. You told me that when you actually moved from the Hindu to the Times of India and you actually had to change your mobile number, and then you called people from your new number, and the response wasn't too great, and you had to, only after you introduced yourself, that really warmed up to you. And I remember you telling me that when you change your phone number itself, look at the difference. Imagine if you change your profession. How is it now?
You should be realistic. You must make up your mind. It's not going to be the same. I could have walked into a judge's chamber just like that as a journalist, and had some informal understanding with.
You can do that even now if you become an office bearer of the Advocates Association. For all you know, you're young enough, you could even become a judge sometime and fulfill your daughter's.
So three resolutions I've taken 3 resolutions. One, not to take up any political position, both outside and associations.
No, if you had remained a journalist, you could have become a Rajya Sabha member.
I will pursue today's development. Yeah, change in equation, that you should be prepared. As a journalist, it's different. As an advocate, I may be their rival. I may be pitted against them in legal arguments. So, change in equation, you should be prepared mentally. And it takes time. It takes time, and it took me 2 years to say, okay, fine, let me face it.
All right, that's a bold decision, I must say. Surya Prasad, in Tamil Nadu especially, as in certain other states as well, the bureaucracy is divided, many say, along political lines, that you get branded very easily. But now in the corporate world, you don't really suffer that, right? Or do you still get sandwiched? Do you still get caught in the crossfire?
Getting caught in the crossfire. When did I get caught in the crossfire?
You were caught in the crossfire between biryani and rice gruel demonstrators in Madurai.
Well, I won't call it a crossfire.
All right, okay, whatever that was.
The inter-office politics is a given in any situation. When there are a lot of people working together, sometimes egos get hurt, and people have their own sense of importance. So, in any organization, whether it is a school, whether it is an office, whether it is a court, or this is bound to happen.
Let me ask you another problem now. When you are an officer, either a commissioner of police or senior or a DIG of a district, of a zone, of a range, you have people waiting at your door. Today you may have to go and I think you still had to do it also in your career, to go and wait outside a collector's office for 1 hour or 2 hours.
Yes.
Does that hurt?
No.
Doesn't?
No.
Okay.
you have got to be prepared for it.
Okay. I think you mastered the art of equilibrium thinking. Pradeep Philip, in fact, would tell you more about equilibrium thinking. But Mr. Vaidyanathan, is it easier said than done for you to actually take that plunge? It's one thing to sit and talk about it. I know a lot of people, for instance, who dabble in the stock market, not really. They just play around, they just write down, they imagine that they've acquired certain shares, and then it gets a, they get a sort of a cheap thrill when those share prices go up, but they don't really invest money. Similarly, a lot of people feel that they can do 100 different things. They can be jacks of all trades. But to actually go down to it, to take that plunge, that is going to be very difficult. How difficult was it for you? How much thought should actually go into it to all those people whom we are probably giving wrong ideas to, who are probably satisfied with their jobs, increment time also, many of them have got increments, some happy, some not so happy.
No, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It took me 2 years before I even made the decision to move. And now since, after having moved.
Did your company try to stop you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Even now I get, whenever I talk to my boss, he said, have you changed your mind yet? So he tells me
when
that.
you go out to marriages and other functions, do they still say Vaidyanathan from Cognizant?
Oh well, it happened even today morning.
Okay.
Oh, this is they used my family name, and he is a vice president in Cognizant.
And did you correct them?
Well, it will be a long story if I try to correct them.
Why did it happen? Why did you do this? Did something go wrong in your company?
Yeah, is he all right? They won't tell me. They'll be asking my wife, is everything all right at home?
Okay.
So they do ask. But the
what is the positive side of this? I mean, of not following the beaten track, of not remaining there, not being a status quo sort of person, not stagnating in a sense, but wanting to do your own thing.
See, there are two things. Number one is you get to be much more alive, because after a while things will become very routine. You're in a rut. You're going through the same motions again and again. So that is one thing. The other one is you acquire certain wisdom over certain broadening of thinking over all this time period, and now you have an opportunity to go and set a new path, which the insight you didn't have earlier. So both these things should be the drivers.
You know what? You can write "Who Moved My Cheese" Part 2.
Well, that will be a thought.
Surya Prasad, the final question to you: given a second innings in life, what would you like to be? Cop or a head honcho of a company?
Well, I'd like to be at that point of time what I want to do the best. Maybe if I am given a second innings, maybe I'd like to be a sports person.
Okay. You still talk like a bureaucrat. Measured tones and all that, but that
No.
I mean old habits die hard.
Yeah, old habits die hard. And when you have spent better part of your life in a particular profession, it gets ingrained into you.
Absolutely, and there certainly gets in. You can tell that from the handshake of Surya Prasad. Well, thank you very much, Surya Prasad, for joining us. To Vaidyanathan, and more strength to you and to people who want to really follow their heart and chart their own destiny. Subramani, before I let you go, after writing about so many people and quoting people in your stories, how does it feel to actually be on the other side of the fence and have a news report on you, to be the news yourself? How did it feel when Janani Sampath walked into your office with the camera?
Very surprised, and more than me, people who know me in court, they were very surprised. You are now on the other end of the spectrum. Spectrum.
All right, for all you know, so, Subramani, I might join you very soon. You never know. I'm already wearing a black coat anyway.
Welcome, you won't regret
That's a clue to our viewers. I'm already wearing a black coat. But thank you very much, and good luck with all your, I shouldn't say stories now, but all your briefs. Thank you very much, Subramani, for joining us. I know it's a long day, but I'm sure nobody's going to wake you up in the middle of the night and ask you to file a story, right?
Thank you, Sanjay. File a case, perhaps.
File a case, yes. Maybe habeas corpus, yes. Maybe you file a writ. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Evelyn, I don't know if we've given you ideas to change your profession, but I suggest you remain right where you are, because you're doing a great job as an anchor. Back to you, Evelyn.
Thanks very much indeed, but it was quite some food for thought. Let's get on to some more news from the state, at least from the neighbouring Union Territory. Some tragic news coming in from Puducherry. The young woman victim of the country bomb blast has died. She succumbed to her injuries after a tough battle for life. The woman sustained her injuries when she had opened a parcel which was believed to be from her father, and then within seconds a country-made bomb in the parcel exploded. A 32-year-old man was arrested late last night in connection. The Pondicherry police suspect the development of a new love interest angle. The Madras High Court today ordered a notice to Tamil Nadu government in 2 petitions challenging the school fee structure determined by the Justice Ravi Rajapandian committee. 2 private schools, one from Erode and one from Thiruvannamalai, filed writ petitions against the committee. The contention was that the fee was determined without taking into account the infrastructure, the pay structure of teachers and the quality of teaching at these schools. The schools on their part claimed that the structure was determined with the previous year's audit report of schools, and price rise during the last 1 year was not considered while fixing the structure. The court has ordered the government to reply by next Wednesday.
What has happened according to the committee is it's just fixed a fee structure based on an auditor's report following on some yardstick which is not relevant to the present days, and that is something which is very wrong, and it has been a writ petition has been filed, and the government has been asked to file its counter and produce records on the Wednesday, the coming Wednesday.
Meanwhile, the debate on the uniform syllabus continues. The comparative study by select academicians from Pudukkottai, Karur, Madurai and Chennai yielded results in the support of the new syllabus's quality. In their opinion, the quality of the nearly 10-year-old textbooks was equally questionable, if not more.
Outdated, those books are outdated and less interesting and more teacher-oriented, not student-oriented. One example I can give, there is a chapter on Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam's vision, how poverty could be eliminated in India by 2010. This is 2011. Earlier time, in 1995, there was a lesson on Jayalalitha. When DMK took office, that lesson was deleted. Similarly, any information on Kalaignar or any information on Kanimudi could be deleted. And in the preparation of these textbooks, teachers of all the 4 streams were involved. Matriculation, Anglo-Indian, Oriental, along with the state board teachers. So there was fairness in the approach, fairness in the preparation.
When we come back on the news tonight, enough seems to have been enough for Daryl Harper. Attack after another, he's called it the quits.